I would request that we are clear in how we answer, and maybe take a minute to think the answer out and share it clearly. Yeah.
Yes, the importance of this is because look, you guys, you're not in negative competition. You are running a positively crafted campaign. Whoever gets into the municipality assembly will serve the people of Finland, at least, if not only people from your municipality. And it's important that from here, we start bringing in the element of cross collaboration. Look at Espoo and Vantaa, we are called Metropolitan Area. Whatever affects Espoo affects Vantaa, affects Helsinki. And we just want to look at this in a broader perspective, that what would you guys think when you get there in terms of enhancing this collaboration so that it works in Espoo, it works in Helsinki, it works in Vantaa. Right now they operate like some kind of towers which are separate, completely separate of each other. So that is the reason why we brought up this session. So free yourself, feel free, it's a discussion, and we are here to share together because it's a learning thing for us. Most important is we are getting our voices there so that we can have as many votes from the immigrant community, because that is the target of this civic awareness campaign that we're doing. We need to raise the numbers up so that you can have people coming in to vote for you. With that, Linda, I hand over back to you.
Yeah.
So that we can start discussion.
I think she looks ready.
Yeah.
Do I?
Yeah. For example, look at the issue of Helsinki City running something very differently. For example, I think the health system of Helsinki City and Espoo and Vantaa are different in a way. How should we? Is it important to harmonize that so that it works the same for everybody? That is just an example to start you off, that there are those differences which probably would be important to be harmonized so that system works cross-border.
So when it comes to the working of the systems, I think that was a good question actually, and a good example. But because Helsinki is the oldest and most functional city in Finland, so I think a lot of resources are still quite centered in Helsinki. And Espoo and Vantaa, they do depend, like in terms of transportation, and it's a lot that goes from Helsinki to the other municipalities. Before the metro started, it was still like quite much transportation centered, still in the city center, and reaching Espoo and Vantaa was still difficult. But after the metro lines have started, I think the car dependencies has reduced. So how I see the collaboration could improve is having a better public transport, for example, as now they have done also in quite extensive areas in Espoo by starting the light rail. And the commuters don't have those issues that they had, let's say, a couple of years ago. So I think in this way the municipalities could also cross-collaborate with the remote areas of Vantaa, and we could also connect properly through the transportation lines, which is also because I represent Greens, and Greens really focus on the renewable energy and sustainability and preserving the costs for the transportations, and also reducing the usage of individual cars when we don't need them. So I think this would be one area where the three municipalities could really collaborate, and we don't take so much out from Helsinki, because I think still the faraway places in Espoo and Vantaa, they still depend for quite many things on the city of Helsinki. Thank you.
Okay.
Maybe I can take
we
it
are
from there
sorry
on this.
to interrupt you.
David, just 1 minute. Or what?
Is somebody keeping the time?
Well,
1 minute just.
I wanted to make a comment that to the audience, at this moment we're not allowed to clap or cheer, because we are going to do that at the very end. Otherwise, it will interrupt the session. Georgina, sorry for interrupting, but I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah.
Please move on.
So what I wanted to say is that I'll start by pointing out that in Finland, each municipality takes care of its own things. No municipality is dependent on the other. Now, if we are there, we are councillors there, and we come up with certain strategies that are on point, it will be important that we use the same template. For instance, Keskusta, the center party, is advocating for nearness of services to the people, what they call in Finnish language, lähipalvelut. Now, if they're bringing healthcare centers, making sure that each area, Hakunila, Tikkurila, each area has a healthcare center very close to itself. And if we, at the end of the day, realize that this is working in Vantaa, that template could be moved to Espoo and Helsinki, such that the whole Finland is benefiting. Thank you.
Thank you. David, just 1 minute more. I have a just don't worry what. Kwambia watu kama mimi.
Hamna chochote, unaweza ondoka, tuko kwenye mkutano sasa. Asante sana. Yes.
Okay, thank you for all. English is bad for me, but I speak French maybe.
Asante sana.
So me, I have work tonight.
Tuna wakati tafadhali, asante.
Na washukuru wote. Mungu awasaidie sana.
Next,
God bless all. God be strong. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so we are still looking at other areas and other sections of how we can strengthen the collaboration between the municipalities, but it's important. But look at this from the angle of you as a lawmaker, because you know, a councillor is a lawmaker at the municipal level. Yeah. At the very least, you have 3 functions as a councillor. 1 is to represent your people. 2 is to legislate on policies that govern the municipality. 3 is to oversight the management of public resources in your municipality. So these things have to be looked, whichever way, whichever issue, you have to look at it through these 3 things. So as we discuss here, consider that you're elected today and you're in that parliament and you have seen a gap, probably that people in Vantaa do not have, for example, light rail transport yet. They don't have a metro system there. How would you then want to push this forward? Because it's important. Look at how Espoo and Vantaa are now connected. So a lot more of those services are required. And it is important because these things facilitate the productivity of your residents. So probably on the subject of,
I think he looks like he has words on his mouth. He was just waiting for David to finish. Yeah.
Let us think about parking fees and housing and rent for the houses. Could it be something that can be harmonized?
Yeah, one thing that motivated me for this councilship is about affordable housing, because I've been engaging with a lot of students, immigrant students here in Helsinki, and then they find it difficult to afford a house or have a home. So that's inspired me to run for this, and then when I win, we'll try to put this on the table so the municipality can build more affordable homes for people, not only for students, but for residents of Helsinki and Espoo as well, Vantaa as well. So that is one area that I'm targeting.
But how would this be cross-municipal? Because the topic of discussion is how these 3 municipalities can work together towards this.
It can, because all the municipalities have free land, like land available for them. So they can collaborate and work on this to build more affordable homes for students and then for anyone.
Like they were saying, cheap transportation between Helsinki and Espoo and Vantaa. Not necessarily everybody has to move from Vantaa to Helsinki. Hence, we are saying that Helsinki is a little congested. People can afford reasonable houses or in Kerala or Vantaa somewhere else instead of moving to Helsinki. So by doing that collaboration together, everybody will benefit. And second, you have that connection between Vantaa, because Vantaa is huge, or Espoo between Vantaa and Espoo. Like the Friday Yoke, which really makes people's life easier. So it's easier to commute between these 2 cities or 3 cities.
Thank you. Would you like to weigh in on that, or would you like to bring in a new
I can bring in that I think one of the main ways the cities will collaborate is through sharing of good practices. It's not always working on the same project together. It's also about having the connection between the cities, that one city can look at what the others are doing and learn from it. Helsinki has brought in for example, this every new resident to the city, there's an annual celebration of, you are invited, you will hear from the mayor. That's something that Espoo should learn from. And on that kind of topic, Helsinki has the International House Helsinki, this one-stop shop for every service when someone moves to the capital area, not just to Helsinki. So Espoo's population will be growing and it will be relying on the International House Helsinki, and it needs to be a part of planning the International House Helsinki to also suit Espoo residents.
That's a good point. You are from Espoo?
From Vantaa.
From Vantaa.
Mhm.
Sorry about that. What does Vantaa have that can be used in other municipalities, that you can influence in other municipalities, for example?
I will talk from my own experience at the integration in Vantaa. I think when I came here, I don't know if it's still the same, but when I came here, we had a very structured integration system, which gave us chances to be where we are today. But in my opinion, we are three municipalities which are very close to each other. And like I live in Vantaa, but I work in Helsinki. Could we try to get something, example like an affordable ticket for the three regions? On the healthcare side, Espoo, I think it has a very systemized way, because it's so easy. I work in the hospital, and it's so easy to discharge a patient, an elderly patient who is going to Espoo, because they have a team ready to take care of everything. If these patients need some home care, or they need some kuntoutus. So there is a team set for that. So it's so easy. But when you come to Vantaa or Helsinki, you have to do it yourself in the hospital. And sometimes it's so difficult. So could we learn also from Espoo and try to incorporate this together?
Yeah, this is I can say very good example what she said about, because the Helsinki is the bigger city, and also this the municipal city, for example. Here's why people want to live in Helsinki. This is the main thing, because here jobs opportunities bigger for immigrants, if I can see it. So that's why they want to live in Helsinki, big city. Of course, when the international students move from the abroad, even they get very far away their education institute, but they can't get job there. So they have to move in Helsinki. So that's why Helsinki area can't be grow. But Vantaa and Espoo is very close. Helsinki, people are here living in Helsinki. When they move one to another, they don't know when they were in Helsinki, and now they are in Espoo or Vantaa. So these three are main capital area it look like, and it should work one to another collaborations. For example, metro, what the Helsinki before only metro have an inside Helsinki. After the Espoo, no people have a much easy access. They are living in either Helsinki, then they go to the Espoo, very easy one ticket. But here, one thing is three municipality must be thinking about this, for example, transportations. That ticket must be cheap. If they have a cheap ticket, so everybody can buy it. Cheap ticket, they can move, they don't need their own car, then you can save the environment here in Helsinki, Espoo, Vantaa. But that is at the moment, many buses, trams, they are going empty because the ticket is that higher. You can use your own car, less benzene, and you can move on to another place. So that is I think, big problem here.
Is it possible to make additions?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So I'd like to mention that on the topic of public transport, in Espoo, the Greens were the only party to formally oppose the rise to the HSL prices. So we had no allies on our left, on the left of the city, in opposing the HSL price rises. So it's fundamental aspect of the Greens that we need to be lowering. The HSL tax rises HSL price rises are a tax on people using public transport, and that is especially impacting immigrants, and especially impacting people who are new to the country or don't have the money to run a car or don't have money to buy a house that is close to their workplace. And this is a city collaboration, of course, that the prices, prices cannot be unaffordable to the point where people are, now there's but disguised officers running about on the metro just to try and stop people not paying. And we need to be in a situation where people are happy to pay.
I
Exactly,
think
yeah.
it's more about the financial side of it. I think because Helsinki doesn't want to pay the burden of the rest of the city. I think we have to find a way whereby it can balance everybody paying kind of like equally. That everybody will benefit from it. From the labor side of the collaboration, there's already one, for example, Seura, which is like Helsinki, Vantaa, Espoo. How to improve that and make it a bigger thing that anybody can like be able to work with them. But already Seura is available whereby Espoo, Vantaa, they are working together to employ people, how to make it easy, accessible for everyone to be able to get.
And actually, two issues come into my mind, listening to you two gentlemen. One is that, do you think it's enough for these three cities to autonomically contract Seuri as the only service provider in terms of providing the labor, the work, the manpower to the job, for jobs to the city and to these municipalities? That's just food for the thought, because I think this should be a liberalized society. We need to really break the chains of monopoly and the chains of, having one company or one firm benefiting, because then you deny so many chances. That is just my opinion. The other things that I also know that municipalities also, as a matter of fact, make decisions based on how much revenue they generate. How much money do you have as a municipality? But what we are looking for here is that, yes, we know Helsinki could be having the bigger portion because the population is higher, probably they net a lot from the taxes, but it's imperative that this, as a lawmaker, you could actually bring it out that, yes, let us harmonize, for example, the entry level into the job market. If it comes to maybe on some apprentice skills that are required or technical skills, how do we fund colleges across board? Can we agree on some equitable fund for all this so that one municipality that is not left behind struggling so much? Because when you deny people chances in Vantaa, you're telling them then to run to Helsinki where they think they're greener pastures. And so it's a bit of a tricky situation, but it's important to look at this thing like this, for example. That was just my example.
I have locked eyes with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We approach it from a different perspective, because my understanding is that every city receive a mandate. The ruling party that's going to be ruling the city receive a mandate for the candidate of the municipality. For the citizens of the municipality. And when it comes to intercity collaboration, it's a very, very, it has to be strategic, because it's about policy. As the president of ANDSEA mentioned, he said it requires finances, funding. And before you go into that, you have to sell it to the people. You don't just go into the project. At the end of the day, your people are suffering and the other city are benefiting. But we can work together. There's always a room to collaborate. We just need to clarify what kind of engagement do we want to get in. We need to make the people to understand. First, we go back to the people, because they are the one putting the money. They are the one contributing the money. We don't just go into venture and then the people don't know what happened to their money. So in line with this, I itemized a couple of points that I think it might be helpful. They said why the inter-municipality collaboration. Number one is resources optimization. That is quite very important. I said by collaborating, municipality can pool their resources, share costs, and reduce the duplication of services. And this leads to the greater efficiency in the areas such as public transportation, waste management, and emergency services. Number two, enhanced service delivery. Collaboration effort can lead to improved qualities and availabilities of services, municipality can better address the need of their residents, sharing expertise and best practice in service provision. That's when you're talking of monopoly. That area can be looked into. Number 3 is addressing regional challenges. As many challenges such as environmental issues, economic development, population aging, extend beyond municipality border. And collaboration enable a comprehensive approach to tackle these regional issues effectively. And number 4, capacity building. Smaller municipalities in particular may lack the capacity and expertise to deliver certain services effectively. Collaboration allows them to benefit from enhanced capacity and knowledge sharing from the larger or more specialized municipality. These are the advantages. And funding opportunity. Collaboration project may be more effective for funding from government or EU sources. And joint initiative can leverage large budget and create more significant impact. And finally, strengthen local governances. Collaboration fosters stronger tie between municipality, promoting dialogue, cooperation that can lead to better governances practice and more robust local decision making. This is why that I think that's my opinion, but that's my view. And I think whatever we as a lawmaker, we don't just go into collaboration. We have to go back to the people. We have to sell to the people before we initiate any project. And that's, so our people will not feel held down, they will not feel disappointed, they will not feel betrayed. Every project we put our money, we put their money on, and they will see like we are representing them very well. Because it can be very, very, from policy perspective. Because also the other municipality, they receive a mandate from their people. Did their people agree to go into this venture? Did they agree to do it? According, you are saying something, I read something, it was talking about there's another piece, I don't know the name of the project, that it's a speed racing thing that they were trying to do in Espoo together with another municipality. There's been a lot of series of challenges towards that, because the green doesn't want that. It's going to be a problem to the environment. It's going to be, a lot of things going to be destroyed to create that. We need to find a common ground where, before we embark on any venture on behalf of the people, as a responsible representative, we got to do that. So that's my opinion, based on why. So how, I will say that later. So just to give the floor for the other.
I would like to bring us back to the immigrant voice. We do have a lot of influx right now of immigrants in Ammatikon Kekoulut, and they are registered here as members of, they're living in Helsinki, Espoo, Vantaa. There is a lot of them coming in, and there is a problem that is happening. They don't have jobs. Now they are queuing to get food. Yeah, it is that dire. These immigrant students, they are in all these 3 municipalities. Is there a way that these 3 municipalities can work together to, I don't want to say help, but what policy, how are we planning to fix this? Because at the end of the day, it's the municipal level that affects us directly. And your voters, as they will be in 2 years, since they just moved this year or last year, are struggling from an immigrant perspective. So let's think of this topic again, this cross-municipal collaboration from that perspective. This was just an example, a very, very relevant example.
So of recently, what I've seen is a lot of immigrant students have come, especially from Asia. I've seen a lot of Indian influx post-COVID, I would say. And all these students, they end up paying fees. So the studies are not free for them, and the fee is humongous. And plus the policy that's been changed, that these students, as soon as they finish their studies, within 3 months, they are supposed to land in a job, otherwise they have to go back from wherever they came. So this policy, this particular policy needs to be taken care of, because I think this is quite unfair, because although in Finland we do have quite high standards of education, but this fee is very high for those immigrants. They really can't afford to do that. So let's bring into force a change in the policy which says either we don't take those students because Finland needs money, so we are getting money from those students, and finally they have to go back home. Back in the days, education was free, so immigrants didn't mind coming and studying here. But of recently, it's a painful situation for the students who pay so high prices to be here and then end up in the food queues, and depressing as well, because now the recession is actually going towards depression. So this is one of the main policies that needs to be considered, that the students, either we should not take them, and if we are taking them, we should make such a law that we should somehow integrate them and bring them into force so that they end up getting something in hand.
I would like to add more. I think on the municipal level, it's going to be hard to make the changes, obviously, because it is a municipal level. But what we can do is like create opportunities for them to have kind of like employment. Because at the end of the day, when you're employed, you'll be able to sustain yourself. You'll be able to live in society. So the changes, like when it comes about policies like visa, so that's to the parliament which decides on that. But on a community level, everyone can. Like jobs, you can make easy access to labor market for new immigrants into the country.
How would you make that in a municipal level? Let's say you make it to the house. How do you make it in practical sense?
Like I was saying earlier, for example, like Seoul, like because you can have a different sector which is not Hoitoala, but because most of the international students they are already educated, they have the English language, so they can work in different kind of sectors. So at least the community and the area council, which is Helsinki, and the smaller business should collaborate together, like you said, work together, find solution, how to employ those people, pay tax, and then we all benefit from it.
I think if I have to add to what he's saying, if I'm a councillor, the solution is right here in front of us. We are not looking for any solution elsewhere. And the first thing we have to understand is that we at our level we don't have the capacity to change any existing laws now. So what are we going to do? These students have come, they are fresh here, there are no jobs for them, they are poor, they have to fight for their school fees. What are we going to do? Now, most of those students who came in, there is something they could do while in their homeland. There is something they could do. Maybe they are studying law here, they were accountants back home. Maybe they are studying business administration here, they had shops, they were good in management. Now, we need to create, if I'm elected, I'll work with the other municipalities such that we create an organization or a body that takes them on a one-on-one basis. What else? What can you do? First, we have to remove this stereotype thing that as a student, when you come here, you can only clean, you can only this. No. They are all these students, I must be very frank here that all these students entering Finland are super educated. They are one of the smartest Africa has. And they are here. So they have a lot to give. Now when they come here, the only thing they have to do is like to clean, to do this. So we take that stigma away. Now come, you are studying. Okay, you can't have a job in that cleaning sector. What else can you do? Screen them, check them out, and I'm sure you will find something. There are so many jobs in Finland that do not require this Finnish language. It's a fact. Those areas are having shortage of workers. Use them there. Before we know it, we are all having our students filling those places where, check online, there's a lot of, we are searching for employers everywhere. How do we fill them in? Let's use them. Let's take away the stigma. And that will be good for us.
Yeah, but along with the students, also there is a very high population in Finland or in Helsinki area. Those are highly educated and they have been here for decades. And still they have not landed in the kind of job that they want. They're just sitting home and depressed. So what about that population? We are getting more students here, but what about that population who's already here and like looking for opportunities? So these opportunities, as Georgiana mentioned, I think we should do this kind of a collaboration, across municipal collaboration, with such kind of an institute, because the people who are here, they have experience already, and then we kind of include the students and then bring out the policies that, okay, I've been here, I know this, how it works, and then we are here to help you, because even though there are many jobs that are not filled, they are not going to give it to the English speakers.
That's
can
why we
easily-
need that institution. So
But-
work on that.
Thank you, Mr. David and Mr. David, an audience is asking if he can talk or if it's a question, you people can tell us what we do next.
Yeah, we'll come to that. Thank you, Nana, for raising that with us. The listening to all this is very important. I'm looking at a situation where, as a policy maker, at the municipal level, you guys are policy makers because the law is superior. The law is made by the parliamentarians, but as a policy maker, you have the mandate given to you by the people who have elected you to go and make good policies that work for the people. Now look at, for example, language issue. I think it is high time that a really people-driven member of county assembly in Helsinki and the same one in Espoo and Vantaa can come up and say, look, I think it is high time our municipalities open it up in English. Because now, as a matter of fact, it is English in practice, but denial in paper. So legally, Finland is saying, we are only speaking Finnish and Swedish, but look at what's happening. I mean, if I call in Finland and they don't speak Finnish, they will speak to me in English. But then that is living in denial. English is the national language. So for example, that is one thing that you people could collaborate to push.
Yes.
And I saw a very interesting conversation last year about Helsinki when probably Helsinki was already contemplating that, hey, we need to make English an official language. And that is something that I think at municipal level it can be pushed by the councillors that, hey, this is going to have a very effective transformation in the way people interact with the job market and on their daily on their daily hustles. It is important. For example, I'm also thinking about probably having across. Okay, now we are all hustling and looking for jobs from all over. Municipalities could also, and there was something called MOL, is the fee, where you could actually go and look for jobs there. But unfortunately, when I was hustling then, I never got a job there. I wondered whether they were true or not. There were so many jobs, but you would apply and no one actually never comes back to you. So you guys could also think that, okay, when we get elected, we could push that. Let's have probably a portal that encompasses all jobs in Helsinki plus Espoo plus Vantaa together, and whoever accesses it should actually be able to get a real job advert there. And because we all know that right now, if your name starts with Okelo like mine, then probably getting an interview, being called for an interview is a problem. So you could also push for this anonymous name when somebody is applying for a job, for example. For example, this is something that you guys can come in unison as elected leaders to say, hey, I think it's high time our municipality, people applying for jobs to the from jobs advertised by the municipal. Let us not look at the names. Let the name be anonymous. Just look at the person's experience and call them. That way probably would also help people get jobs. Because as a matter of fact, racism is real, tribalism is real, nepotism is real. We cannot run away from those facts.
Yeah, that's true.
And the only smart thing is to come up with smart policies that counteract those practices. And that applies across board, in my opinion.
I think he has something, he's been itching
Sorry.
to say something.
There's like, now it's like, oh, I could also add this, could also add this. On the topic of language, what turning Espoo already effectively has English as a service language, and Helsinki pretty much does as well, and that should be normalised. But people like to talk about English becoming a national or official language. All that would achieve is meaning that we need to have every single paper, every single meeting that happens anywhere in English by law, which isn't beneficial, because that just means a huge extra bureaucratic burden. So I think it's the service language we need to focus on,
Exactly.
not the national language, just to mention. But on the language note, in terms of employment, what we can practically do is the city procure a huge amount of services, and in city level procurement, so the buying of services from small companies, Finnish or Swedish is needed in the procurement process. And that means that small immigrant-run businesses are not competing on the level playing field with Finnish-speaking small business, which means that the jobs aren't being created in the cities are spending huge amounts of money, and that's all kind of very little is going to immigrant-led businesses because of the language requirements. But now, if one city makes that change and the others don't, then we start to have the inequality between the procurement processes. Maybe all the immigrant sort of led are going to one city but not the other cities, and it should be a joint movement between the cities, that we are no longer going to require Finnish or Swedish in the procurement process.
That is said with precision. I like that. Yes, Danilo.
I would like to add to that. I think, as Georgina said, that the solution we are looking for, the job we are looking for is here. As a representative of the people, what we need to do is to remove the red tape and give room for the entrepreneurship to strive. These people will employ a lot of people. Government cannot employ everybody. Keller cannot pay everybody. No matter how much they are subsidizing, trying to pay by social services, it's not sustainable. What's sustainable is the entrepreneurship. If the government remove the red tape and remove the bureaucracy, the representative create a good policy and open up the entrepreneurship circle, that when somebody open a small business, the regulation is not killing your businesses. And then you can easily employ one or two people. All these people that you are talking about, I'm going to digress a bit. Donald Trump is a whiff. Sorry. So I digress a bit. I was in one place this morning. I met three people working there in one African shop. This is an entrepreneurship place. And they don't require anything. Just to fold the palm, help them to put in the shelf. They don't require language, they require nothing, but they have income. They take home something home. This is what we need to do. We need to create that space. All these students can go there and work. They don't need to, not only cleaning. As long as we give room for the entrepreneurship to strive, that's it. We solve the problem. The government, you cannot employ everybody. That is just my take on that.
Right, thank you guys. We still have 6 minutes, then we'll switch back to something else. Because, yes, please.
So my take on this is all the opinions are good, but in my opinion, if I get elected, I will try to have structured systemized way, work with schools. Let the schools provide intensified Finnish language. We all know, and we don't want to undermine the power of learning the language of the land we are living in. So let the schools provide these students with intensified school Finnish language. From there, let's work with the companies in our municipality. We have companies like IKEA. Let's give these students opportunities. People given opportunities, they will thrive. All of us who have learned Finnish language, we all know that it's when you start working in these companies with the Finnish language, listening to it all day, that is when you learn the language. So let's give them chances.
I just want to say one more thing, like you said, integration is two ways, between the immigrants and then the indigenous people. So it can be just only one part.
Yeah.
We all have to pitch in.
Yeah.
Yes.
And second, about the employment, as an expert at the employment services, there are services provided for immigrants. There are different kinds of, you just have to go and look for them. For them, business Helsinki, you just have to call there and ask what kind of service they provide.
Yeah.
I think from the position that you are in, it's easy to say these services already exist, you just have to call and provide.
Obviously.
But from the position that I am in as a new immigrant, even when I came here, I don't know anyone who called Business Helsinki and got any help. I know people who wanted to start a business, and when they went there, their dream was killed. So yes, these structures exist, but how helpful are they? And that is why the solutions we require are practical ones, not ones that we need to go to offices to. Yeah, it's
That's
just
why-
adding to the bureaucracy of
That's
things.
why we need representatives, because it was only one sided. That's why we
Yeah.
need people who can think like the people applying for the jobs.
Yeah.
Because it's not only one sided. So we have to improve on those. Of course, no service is perfect. Just have to keep on improving them and then work on them to fit everyone, not just one people. more than one person.
And also on the
Oh,
entrepreneurial
oh,
side, I'm
okay.
sorry I have to say
Okay.
this, because I'm an entrepreneur myself, you know, I've closed my companies twice, and if you run out of that, it's killing you. It's so depressing when your
Yes.
business runs out,
Yes.
and there are no clients, there is just nobody, you know, I'm throwing money out of the window for rent, for insurances, for Veritas, for everything. So it's just money throwing out of the window. It's completely non-sustainable. I would love to employ people, but I'm barely able to manage myself. So how to navigate through these, you know, kind of forced entrepreneurship? Because nobody comes here with the mindset that, okay, you know, I'm so highly qualified, I'm at the best of my career, but you go to Finland and you're doomed. You have to be a forced entrepreneur. So we need to, you know, we need to employ people, you know, we need to collaborate them, but we need to make policy changes so that life is also easy for the small entrepreneurs.
Yes, but also we have to remember that if we are talking about the students, they are young people, they have dreams. When we employ them in these shops, they are just packing shops and they are satisfied because they have a salary. What are we doing to their dreams?
I object that. Objection, please. This, no, sorry, no.
Yeah, no, please allow me to interject with a veto power.
Okay, sir.
Sorry about that. It's because we need to manage time, and these are it's really sweet to listen to this. They really make a lot of sense. But we have to manage time, and we have to really leave the rest for another day.
Okay.
In my opinion, thank you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Daniel and Ruth. Hi, Alfredo. I see you're burning with something.
Yes, but you closed it.
Yeah, Mr. David,
Let me just.
Yeah, let me give Tanver 1 minute so that we can.
Yes, I can give one example. This is what we're talking about. We also think about this, why these problems are growing and growing. That is the main point. Because of lack of our leadership. We don't have, as an immigrant, we never work like that. We never think about this in the coming future, what the problem is coming. Okay, our people are not going for vote. They are not choosing their representatives. They just saying the problems are coming. Of course, those who are sitting their leadership, they're making decision for them because they get the vote from there. Now we have to be everybody actively work and teach to people all problem and solutions. We know your problem because we are also on the same page.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Tanver.
Sorry, I need to interrupt. Amazing, but we need to finish. We're going to open the space for 2 questions of the audience. But before the questions of the audience, since you are all fired up,